Hi everyone, welcome. Hopefully you can see me right now. We're trying something new and hopefully this is working. Let's see, I see myself on Facebook Live. I don't know if this was the reminder that was sent out. So if any of you guys are on the wrong spot, Joe is about to support you right now to get you here with us because tonight we have an amazing show as always, but not just amazing. We have something that we've done in the past that, I've been wanting to do again for years and years because it was such a wonderful experience to have my guest, who I'm going to introduce to you in one moment, with us. And so many of you, I'm looking over here in the chat. Let me just click on my link here so I can see all your lovely faces. Hold on one second. There we go. Hi, everybody. Did that work for you? That all work for you? Did you guys get the alert? I see you all joining. I'm just wondering if you guys got the alert. And let me see where I am here as far as, yes, we're good. Okay. So did you guys get the alert, and did it take you to the right spot? That's what I want to hear from you right now. Did it take you to the right spot? Because that's brand new. Actually, Jamie told me about that this week. And he said, this is a way for you. Oh, it did. Excellent. Did you like that? I actually really like that because it kind of gives you a little bit of reminder. It tells you when we're coming on. So you're already waiting for me here. Look how many of you guys are already here in the chat room for me getting started. So that was great. That was great. So excellent. I'm happy to see you. We have a fantastic, fantastic show tonight. Something a little different. Okay. As you guys know, I've been starting some new stuff lately, and this is going to be great because this is the first of a series of many nights that we're going to spend together with my very good friend and amazing pediatrician, Dr. Susan Markell. And many of you may remember Dr. Susan from past episodes that we did together. If you guys have been following for a while, you remember those great nights we had going over so much great information for you and your babies. But we also have them all in archive, and lots of you have watched those shows. I mean, they've got so many hundreds of views and even thousands of views on some of them. So we're going to go back over all of that. I'm getting hearts across the screen. I guess you guys are excited about this like I am. I don't want to wait any longer to bring Dr. Susan on, so I'm going to use my technical skills here. I've been doing very well with my technical skills. I'm impressing myself to bring Dr. Susan on live with us and meet her. And before I do that, I want to just say that we have so many new people joining us on our Facebook page. And I know, and I see you guys every day. The count just keeps going up, and nothing makes me happier than to see new moms, new dads joining our community, watching these amazing live streams where we have all these great guests, including yourselves that you did on Saturday night with me. Everybody loved that. Let's have some hearts for our live with you streams because those are going to be amazing. And I know you all want to participate in that. You're going to get a chance to. But I want to just give you, before we bring Dr. Susan on, some of you don't know me. Some of you just met me or may have just been referred even tonight. And so I want to just give you a little bit of my background so that you understand my experience and where I'm coming from with all of this as well. So first of all, I'm a mom. I have two girls. They're already teenagers, okay? My oldest is going to be 15. My youngest will be 13 in May. Can't believe it. It does go that fast. Enjoy every moment, okay? They were just babies. But I'm also, I've been doing this, taking care of moms and babies for over 20. I stop at 25. Let's say that. I got to the 25-year mark, and I'm not going any higher than that. So I was a registered nurse in labor and delivery. I was a certified nurse midwife. I had my own practice, and I delivered over 600 babies while I was in practice, but with thousands of laboring moms in pregnancy and their births. And then I'm also an international board certified lactation consultant, and I work with many amazing companies now, and we do this together. And so I have the best job in the whole world because I get to spend all these nights with all of you learning and hanging out together. So Are you guys excited? Are you ready? Let's get some hearts going across the screen and let's bring Dr. Susan on. I want to see those hearts flying across the screen. And while I'm bringing Dr. Susan on, I want to know, where's everybody from? So while I'm doing this, you guys go ahead and type, where are you from tonight? We want to see everybody, because wait till you hear where Dr. Susan is calling in from. Okay, there we go. So this should switch us over. There is a little delay, but I think everyone's going to be able to see us in 1 second. I'm watching over on the screen. Hi, Dr. Susan. Welcome.
Hello, Sherry.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm so happy to see your face and to have you here with me once again. It's been several years, and I haven't stopped thinking about the work that we've done together and the amazing resource that you are for so many parents. And I'm just honored to have you back with us on our program.
Happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to just say everybody needs to give Dr. Susan lots and lots of love, because Dr. Susan is in France right now, and that's where she lives, in the south of France. How wonderful. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
That's right.
Now, that is commitment. That is total commitment. Okay, so we need lots and lots of love for Dr. Susan, so that first of all, she knows how appreciative we are. And second of all, keep the stream going, because hopefully that will keep her awake tonight too, right? Oh my goodness. All right. Are you hearing an echo? Someone's saying they hear an echo. You hear an echo, Kate? Where's the echo? Echoes? No echoes. Come on. All right. All right. Well, I don't hear an echo. Do you hear an echo, Dr. Susan?
No.
Okay. All right, good. So first of all, I want to just give you a moment to introduce yourself. They're saying that you have an echo. So I don't know if you might have a headset there that you can put on or something, because they do hear an echo.
Okay. Well, it somehow has something to do with me being the sound coming out on your computer, maybe, and somehow there's like a double sound. I don't know, but hold on.
Hold on, everybody. We're going to get, look at all these. Okay, so let's see.
Better. Is this better?
I didn't hear the echo, so let's see. Is it better for you guys? It's gone now, they're saying? It's fine now. Okay, talk for a moment.
Oh.
Let's see. You don't hear it anymore? It was coming out of my computer. I don't know why. Okay, that shouldn't happen. All right, I think we're good though. I think we're good. Okay. You don't hear it? Okay, excellent. All right, so first of all, Dr. Susan, I want you to can you just give us, tell us about your background. You've been doing this for so long, and I want our audience and all the moms to really get how wonderful of a resource you are, and how wonderful it is that you're coming on, so that they can ask questions, and what kind of questions, and what we're going to be doing over the next few months together. So go ahead.
Okay. And if the sound is not good, just let us know.
They will let us know.
So yes, I'm a board certified pediatrician, having graduated in ancient times from Tufts University School of Medicine in Boston. I had my pediatrics practice for many years. I also was certified as a board certified lactation consultant in 1997. I was one of the few candidates who actually did not have to take a test, because I was already known to be so well versed in breastfeeding because of my advocacy as a pediatrician.
Right.
Well, actually, I did take the test, but I didn't have to show any background or any whatever else other people have to do. I just showed up in Charlotte, North Carolina one day for the test.
They already knew you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, and I've just always been an advocate for babies and for children, and for parents to bring up the children in a healthy way, in a natural lifestyle that does not depend on the medical profession. And I have credibility because I'm in the medical profession.
Yeah, and it's really the best source because you know so much, being a physician yourself, having gone through medical school, having had your pediatric practice, to know, what really works and what doesn't. And, it brings up the whole point of what we're doing here, which is everybody knows we're doing #book club, because this is something new. And this is Dr. Susan's wonderful book. It's one of my favorite books to always recommend to new parents. It's called What Your Pediatrician Doesn't Know Can Hurt Your Child. And we spend so much time on so many streams talking about, the misinformation that's out there, the lack of continuity from physician to physician, from nurse to physician, and then also just the idea of, parents having their own thoughts and instincts and ideas and not being able to feel empowered with that. So, I know when we talk about like the reason for your book, go ahead. No one can talk about it better than you can. So I really want them to get an idea of why you wrote this book.
Every issue that's in the book is related to how the medical profession medicalizes childhood.
Yeah.
And creates an attitude, sort of a learned helplessness on the part of parents. Doctor, I can't do this. I can't treat. My baby is sick. My child has a fever. My daughter has an ear infection. And just not understanding that the body has an amazing ability to heal itself if we let children do things that come naturally. And I can probably sum up the 300 pages of the book by telling you this. What children need most is to be given whole foods from the earth, for you to avoid toxins of all kinds, to have children play in the natural sunlit outdoors, and for children to grow up in a peaceful, loving home. That's it. That's your healthy child.
That's the recipe. That's the recipe.
Children come into this world ready to learn, love, and play. Yeah. And if we just let them and not thwart those natural tendencies, children would be much better off.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so beautiful, just the way you just worded that. And it's so simple, but it's something we don't hear enough about. And definitely we're not hearing it when we walk into our doctor's offices and, we're hurried through the system and we're prescribed something and sent on our way and we're not listened to. And, that's so much of what your book is about and what you've always practiced, I know. How do parents deal with that? How do parents, what's the first step when they're wanting to do that, but they're struggling with it?
Trust their instincts and become educated for things that they don't know.
Yes.
If something doesn't feel right or seem right, or what the doctor is telling you doesn't seem to be the right thing for your child, because you want your wishes to be respected and your ideas to be valued. Yes. And if you're not getting that, then you're in the wrong place.
Yeah. And I think that's such a good point, because so many times moms will post and ask me questions about, my pediatrician said this, I felt awful when I left. I'm watching your live streams. I'm learning about breastfeeding. I'm learning about all these natural ways of taking care of our health and nutrition. And, I'm hearing something completely opposite, and it makes parents feel, confused about
because doctors are trained to treat disease and to use pharmaceutical drugs.
Yes.
So if you know things about healthy lifestyle and nutrition and carrying your baby and sleeping with your baby and breastfeeding, then it's likely that you know more about these things than your pediatrician does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that getting the information, becoming knowledgeable, reading books like yours, watching these streams, the internet, there's so much information out there for parents to be able to empower themselves with all this knowledge, and to feel confident and feel and trust themselves, like you said, because I think the biggest issue is that they, and sometimes you have all these plans while you're pregnant. And then once the baby comes, it's like the fear sometimes can take over, and you start to immediately feel like someone else knows more than you do or knows better than you do.
Well, our culture is based on fear. You have to get fire insurance in case your house burns down. You have to alternate Tylenol and ibuprofen every 4 hours in case your child's fever goes up. And, not realizing, or pediatricians not telling parents that leave the fever alone. Fever is a good immune mechanism.
Yeah.
Your child will get better with the fever, not without the fever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't filter down to the public. There's a disconnect between the evolution of health and frankly the interference of nature.
Yeah.
With medical intervention.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not to say that all medical intervention is bad. We have great, advances in surgical techniques and different things that, we never had in the past. Those are all good. And it's just that it's the overuse. And so much of, I think, when we look at pharmaceuticals in particular, so much of it is so overused. It's such a big business. And there's so many great ways to treat illness or even, to stay healthy without the use of pharmaceuticals. Yet so many children are on medications.
Yeah, for everything.
For everything.
I mean, for most minor illnesses, which will get better. Ear infections, 90% of ear infections will get better on their own.
Yes.
Ear tubes are not in any way a valuable route to go when a child has ear infections because it doesn't get to the heart of the problem. As I said, fever is an excellent immune mechanism response. Eczema, I talk about how bad steroids can be because they don't treat the underlying problem and they get absorbed. So it's like giving your children steroids by mouth when you put it all over the skin. And I also talk in the book not only about these specifically medical issues, but also behavior, communication, parents learning to communicate with their children so the children then learn to communicate in an authentic way. I talk about discipline, and discipline is a positive word. It means to teach. The word disciple is a teacher. And so it's very important for parents to understand how to teach their children good behavior, but it's not a negative thing. It has nothing to do with punishment because children rarely do anything deliberately to make their parents angry, even though parents will interpret their behavior and say things like, he always does this to make me angry. But children don't have that. They don't have that goal. And a lot of times when parents get upset with children, the children have no idea what they even did wrong because they're just learning. They're learning how to be in society. So and one of the chapters in my book is the subtitle is the one about discipline, I think, is the subtitle is Treat Me Like I'm Someone You Love. It's kind of lost sometimes in communicating with children. But learning to listen, and children have to learn to listen, and parents have to learn to listen because we did not learn how to listen from our own parents.
Right.
And so there are these intergenerational gaps. If we didn't grow up because our parents didn't listen to us, and that's just the way it was. Parents were busy, and it wasn't really emphasized to really listen. And so we grew up not being listened to, and so we don't know how to get down on our child's level physically and emotionally. I mean, literally get on the floor and look your child in the eye. We don't really know how to listen, and so we have to train ourselves to be good communicators and good listeners.
Yeah.
It's all related. I mean, it's not. So I'm just saying it's a lot of it is emotional and behavioral and communication and the book is divided into 3 parts, which you'll see. But we have that the part about when the child is first born and the beginning of the life and the breastfeeding and the carrying and the sleeping, the co-sleeping, and we have the emotional stuff that I just talked about, and then we have all of these different maladies, if you will, that children have that are just a natural part of childhood. They get colds, they get sore throats, they get ear infections, they get fevers, and we have to leave it alone.
Yeah.
We don't have to interfere all the time. So in a few sentences, that's the goal of the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wrote down some of the chapters because one of the things tonight is really to like learn about what's the overview, and you're giving such a good example of what the overview of what we're talking about here, to give it some context of why this book is important, but not just the book. It's the approach to parenting. It's the approach to the whole transition into being a mother, into being a father, and also what is it to be a human being, to grow from the womb into a human being, and what are some of the, in that first few years, how important that developmental time is, not just physically, but also emotionally and psychologically, and how as parents, we're really there to just support what is naturally happening in the child with as little interference and as much as we can give them from our own experience and from basically, like you said, love, whether that love comes from attention, which I know is one of the chapters, whether that love comes from communication and listening, from proper discipline, as you said, or whether that love comes in the form of breast milk and co-sleeping and, baby wearing, all the things that so many of our audience is already doing and not realizing that they're already doing all these wonderful things. So, sometimes we can listen to this and say, oh my God, am I doing it right? And then we start breaking it down to say, you're already doing all this. You might not realize what you're doing, but you're doing it every day. And then here's how to continue on with that process and how meaningful it actually is. A couple weeks ago, we did a live stream on the benefits of baby wearing. And the night was sponsored by Lalaboo, which is one of our amazing brand partners that makes a wearable nursing top that the baby can actually be up against you all the time. And then you take the baby out and the baby can nurse, and they make one for dad. I have the model here that everybody remembers from the other night when we were here. And Lalaboo's in the room with us. So hi, guys. Thank you so much. So we did this live stream. And what I loved about the one that we did on baby wearing a few weeks ago was it wasn't about which carrier or the brand or about the type of wrap or how you do it. It wasn't about that. It was about what does baby wearing and keeping your child close, what does that do for them and all the different aspects of their development. And even as I was reading and doing the research and getting ready and prepared to speak to everybody, I was just feeling better and better about my own choices to wear my children. The idea and how wonderful, it's such a simple concept, but they're so meant to do that. And that's like a whole chapter in the book, and it's something that we're going to cover together as we move through, because you have so many great things about that. So baby wearing is just one of them, but we had such a great night, and there's Lalaboo. Hi, guys. Yeah, so we're going to actually be giving away one of those shirts tonight. Again, actually, Lalaboo's giving somebody a $75 gift card for their website so they could pick whatever they want. So if you want the daddy shirt or the mommy shirt, it makes a good Valentine's Day gift, I would say. What do you think? Valentine's gift for yourself. But yeah, that's going to be our prize tonight. But so appropriate for tonight's conversation, because I think the more I learned in the last few weeks even, and the more I've known over the years, you realize like that's how that's how babies are supposed to start their life. They're starting their life being carried in your womb, and it doesn't change once they come out. Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, Ashley Montague, which I talk about in the book, he said that that the human baby is the only mammal that at birth is not born to be independent. I mean, I'm not an expert on mammals, but for instance, a horse, as far as I know, pretty soon after birth can start walking away from the mother. But because the baby, you know, having to do physiologically and the size of the head, et cetera, that babies are born before they're mature enough to be in any way independent. And so Ashley Montague talks about the 9 months in utero gestation and the 9 months ex utero out of after the baby is born, that you really need the baby needs another 9 months to be able to be mobile and to take food by himself and herself. And so we have to be the mother that's available to the child, totally available at the very beginning, because the child is completely dependent on the caregiver. And then as the child becomes more independent, in that case, the mother's job, so to speak, is to step back and to allow and even encourage the child to be more independent, not to be there all the time, but just it's a balance to go from total dependence to gradual independence. So, oh, now the child, she can tie her own shoes. Oh, he can do the puzzle by himself. And so we have to learn how to be. In fact, I do have a chapter called The Good Enough Mother, and it's not what people think when they hear that term, the good enough mother. It's not like a psychobabble term, meaning, well, I'm good enough, so that's, you know, what can you do? I'm good enough. No, it's not that at all. It means that what the psychologist who came up with the term good enough mother, and you can read about it more in the book, is that you have to be good enough, but not too good. You have to be good enough to meet the child's needs at each stage, but not too much, not too perfect, that the child is never learning how to fend for him or herself. So you only want to be good enough, but not beyond that. It's a concept. But again, it has nothing to do with what people think. You know, well, maybe he's not that great a kid, but I did the best I could. I was good enough. It doesn't mean that at all. And of course, I explained that in the chapter, what it means.
Right.
So these are all some, you know, very interesting concepts to, you know, to help parents to feel present in their children's lives, to have a good bond with their children, and to have children grow up feeling loved and secure. Because if a child is feeling loved and secure during childhood, and his or her needs are met, that is the basis for a functional adult in society. And if you really, I mean, those of us in our world who are dysfunctional, you can almost always go back to the childhood. It wasn't a good childhood, and that's why this one is doing things that we're reading about in the newspaper, bad things. Bad things happen because of things that happen right at the root. The root of problems in adulthood is what happens in childhood, and that's why we have to be so purposeful in our parenting.
And purposeful. Let's not confuse that with perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's about, and really the truth is, anyone who is on the chat right now, even watching and paying attention and sending hearts across the screen and commenting and interested, you're already doing it, or you wouldn't be here in this chat. You'd be doing something else that we don't want to know about. Okay.
Hang up all the other people that are not interested.
Right. I mean, I always say to moms, if you're even worried, if it even occurs to you that you may be worried that you're not doing it right, you're probably doing it way better than everybody else. Because even the thought of the concern of, am I doing this well? Right there speaks volumes to the type of mother and the type of parent you are. So not about being perfect. I'll be the first to admit I am not perfect. I can think of all the times where I may not have been perfect in my parenting, and still to this day. But the idea that I keep trying, I keep thinking, I keep exploring new ideas, I keep listening to my children, I have the awareness, just the awareness will bring that purposefulness that you're talking about, because we keep growing each day with that.
All these parents are doing a good job.
Yeah.
And believe me, when I had my practice, the last thing I said when I was leaving the exam room was, I say to the mother every single time, good job, you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Because
It's a hard job. It's a hard job that we've been through, and they're going through, and it doesn't end either, I guess, no matter how old your children get. It doesn't end. At some point, they're on their own, but these early years are very challenging. They're very challenging. I want to go over, first of all, let's just get some roll call here in the chat room. I want to know how many of you guys are already doing some baby wearing right now. How many of you guys are expecting? You know, I want to know a little bit about you guys. What's going on? How old are your children? Are you doing any of the things that we're already talking about? Is this already part of your life? Is this something that, you know, you think will help you shift things, or that you're already doing, or what's going on? So let's hear from you guys too. And if there's any questions, I'm sure Dr. Susan would be happy to, we can do some questions for you guys as well. Let's see here. Oh, they're saying they love baby wearing, and they're agreeing with a lot of what we're saying here. Yeah. Let's see if there's any questions that I can pull up here. Hold on a second. I'm scrolling back. So Angelica asked a question before. She said her son has a fever. What's the best thing that she can do for him? He has an appointment tomorrow morning. He's 6 months old and teething.
stay home.
Let's put it this way, do all fevers need to be treated? And why does the child have a fever? I mean, you started to touch on this before, and I know I'm jumping into things that we're going to cover as we go on. But, you know, as they're asking their questions, and here you got Angelica, who's a mom with a 6-month-old baby at home right now watching us, and worried and wondering, should she medicate her child? What should she do?
A fever, I know there's fear of fever in society, but fever is a great thing. So there's nothing to worry about. Just let the fever treat the child. There's no reason to intervene if a child has a fever.
Yeah. I mean, even children can have pretty high fevers too, and that's the body actually, taking care of itself. Fever is actually a protective reaction of the body, isn't it?
Well, I mean, one simplified way of looking at it is that the fever has many uses, and I talk about it in the book, but the main thing is that the invading organism, let's say a virus, cannot live in a higher temperature.
Right.
So by leaving the fever, you're killing the virus. By lowering the fever, you're allowing the virus to thrive. There have been many studies of children with chickenpox before there was a vaccine against chickenpox, that the children who were treated for the fever and the children who won't, and the children who were not treated for fever had far fewer lesions and were sick for far less time, because the fever was killing the virus.
Right.
So, and it's well known that fever helps a child who has an illness, not something to be feared. Yeah. I mean, I know, I talk to parents all the time. I know that there's that myth, I'll call it a myth, in society, promulgated by the medical profession, because if you go to a pediatrician, frankly, they have charts. They have Tylenol charts, dosage charts that they hand out. This is the dosage for 6 months old, for 20 pounds. And so, of course, it gives the impression that you must treat the fever, but it really is not true.
Yeah.
And fever does not go too high. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a fever going too high. It never happens. Unless the child has a neurological damage, like, God forbid, meningitis. in which case we're not talking about a normal fever situation. But other than that, it's fine.
Yeah. So, yeah, and there's other things that we can do for comfort, to comfort them other than just giving them medications. And I know even with my girls, even now when they get sick and they have a fever, we'll give, a bath, taking a bath to bring down the temperature, things like that will actually, and keeping them hydrated, all the things to sustain them, to help let that fever. I've always felt the same thing, and I know that part of it, that it's actually in some sort of way burning off. I always think of it like burning off the virus. And so I don't want it to stop because I want it to do its job. It's the body actually working. It's when a baby doesn't get a fever and they're overwhelmed with an infection, that's when the body's not reacting properly.
Yeah, I mean, we do want to know what the underlying cause of the fever is. Not that we necessarily would even treat that, but just treating the fever without attention to what the issue is, that really has no value.
Yeah. We use a lot of homeopathic medicine in our family. My sister's a homeopath, and we use a lot of homeopathic medicine, which works really great. I know you have a whole chapter. I'm just going to run down some.
I don't have a chapter on homeopathy.
No, but on natural medicine versus medication, and
natural healing. Natural healing versus.
Gotcha.
I'm not an advocate of medicating children at all.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, fantastic. Well, then I'll have to have my sister on for another episode to talk about homeopathy, which we will. But that's great to know. And I, what we'll do is let's go through some of the chapters that we are going to discuss in upcoming episodes, because I think what I really am hoping that the audience is going to do, that all you guys out there are going to do, is get a copy of the book, because it's one of the books. There's not that many books that I really love recommending for new moms, that I'll actually buy as a gift for a new mom. And when I had my store, people come in, I say, get this one and just, enjoy the whole process and understand that you're doing well and that there's not that much that you need to do. And so I would really love for you guys to get the book. Joe's going to post the link for that, because what we're going to do when we talk about #book club here, we're going to take this chapter by chapter over the next few months and go through some of these really important topics that Dr. Susan and I are discussing right now. Like, for example, the book will cover, it starts with the birth, and it starts with everything from that first minute on. There's so many decisions and choices that you'll be making and be presented with from the very first moment after birth. And I know this has being a midwife, being an L&D nurse for so long. It was like right there, between the vitamin K shots and the eye ointments and this and that. And, it's so important that we learn this stuff before we have the baby, because so many new moms will say, oh my God, I wish I would have known this before I delivered, because within the first hour, they've got to make 10 different decisions. And so that is the first chapter, and it's a great place for you to start and for us to start when we come back again, and to refer anyone share this link, share it, tag friends who are expecting, because this is when you want to learn this, is before you have your baby, so you don't look back and say, oh, I wish I had known that. Right?
Yes, and as far as that first chapter, which you just mentioned, the discovery, the beginning, I forgot exactly what the first chapter is called, but based on that chapter, when the book came out, and I talked about all of these interventions, if you will, in the newborn period. And I mean neonatal, as you said, from minute number one, shots, intramuscular, drops in the eyes, ointment, just terrible, assault on the baby's body. But interestingly, the Lamaze, am I thinking of Lamaze? I guess, wait a minute. Is Lamaze the big organization? Yeah, that teaches about childbirth, right?
Yes.
So that organization actually asked me to be the keynote speaker that year in their international yearly
Wow.
meeting, which was in Fort Worth, Texas. And I did. I was the keynote speaker, and I made a, sort of like a PowerPoint presentation about all these things that we're discussing, the vitamin K injection, the ointment. And I told all of the nurses and the midwives in the audience, you are the first responders.
Yes.
You're the first one at the time that the baby is born to educate these parents and tell them, this is not evidence-based. And you really want to think about this. Think about why you need this. And every example that I give in the book, my book doesn't decide for the parents, obviously, but it certainly educates as to why the vitamin K is given and how, in fact, it's not really something that nature intended, because babies are not born deficient in vitamin K. Mm-hmm. The human race got this far without babies being injected with vitamin K at birth. Mm-hmm. The eye drops. The reason that eye drops in all 50 states, a baby is given eye ointment, is to prevent blindness from the mother's gonorrhea, because the mother, years ago, the main cause of blindness was gonorrhea, and the baby coming through the birth canal could get infected in the eyes and go blind. Well, of course, we don't see that these days, but no, we're still putting eye drops as if the mother might have gonorrhea, which they don't, and because even if they did, it's being screened for in, prenatal visits. So,
and not only that, but they're doing it even during a C-section when a baby is not even born through the vaginal canal. They're being born into a sterile field, and so it's again just routine given routinely. Exactly. And I know even from my own patients when I was a midwife, if they were to have a C-section, how difficult it was, or to watch patients go through this of saying, I don't want something, to actually say, there's no reason for this. I want that first hour or two after delivery is important for your baby to be able to have their eyes open, to be able to bond with you, to be able to see you. When they're coated in antibiotic ointments in their eyes,
That's right.
For no reason at all. These are the, and then the fear of your baby could go blind. That's how it's actually.
That's right.
It's so, it's that fear tactic, like you talked about, scaring parents into complying with procedures that are not so benign, and also completely unnecessary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll talk about each procedure form when we talk about that chapter.
I mean, that one goes through jaundice, it goes through breastfeeding, it goes through all the different things that you're going to face right there in the hospital. It's a great place where we're going to start. Dr. Susan has a whole chapter on breastfeeding, which is a topic we never talk about here, We never talk about breastfeeding on my show here, but we will talk about it, and we'll go over so much about breastfeeding. And then we also, there's a chapter on baby wearing, as we talked about before. There's a chapter on co-sleeping. There's a chapter on nutrition, which I know everybody's going to want to know more about. Nutrition, it's always a big topic that comes up about, solid foods and, what they should be eating, and baby-led weaning, and all the different things that moms are really curious about, because, again, there's so much misinformation out there, and so much contradiction and outdated, really, I want to use the word outdated advice from pediatricians that I am constantly having to review and go over. So yeah, that'll be some great topics. And then right into the whole sections about transitioning into parenthood, discipline, attachment. And then I can't wait for the conversation that you brought up before about what did you say? The being good enough?
The good enough mother.
The good enough mother. The good enough mother. I'm looking forward to that conversation, because I don't think I ever quite heard it the way I heard it tonight. But it's a really amazing concept of how you're describing it. So yeah. How's everybody doing? You guys excited? So this is not a video series yet, but this is actually a book, and it's called What Your Pediatrician Doesn't Know Can Hurt Your Child. Joe posted up the link. It's available on Amazon. Is it also available on their Kindle too? I don't know if it is.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So you can get this on your Kindle. You can get this on Amazon, and then we can read it together. That's what we're going to do. You can read the first chapter, and then we're going to, then you have the author, the person who wrote the whole book right here coming back to do each chapter.
4 years of attachment to the book.
Is that how long it took you to write the book?
That took 4 years.
Wow, 4 years. Yeah. And, and I know that it's not just a book. This is a lifetime of experience and
totally.
And work and your whole heart and soul. Yeah. I know what that's.
And I was made fun of many times, starting from when I was a resident, and in the hospital there in Connecticut and Hartford, they had something called a transitional nursery. All the babies that were born went right away to the transitional nursery. It was just understood that the baby is taken away from the mother to go to this nursery, and I would always tell the nurses, no, I don't want any pacifiers. No bottle. No water. So eventually one day I went in there, and there was this big sign at the door of the nursery, and it said, Dr. Markel's babies, no pacifiers, no breast shields, no water, no bottles. It was just no. Like everything was no. And I said, okay, well, maybe they're making fun of me. I don't know, but at least the message got across.
Who cares? What I say is, who cares? Let them make fun all they want, as long as you're giving the right information and babies.
That's right.
Babies are getting what they need. I could care less. Yeah. I could care, no, that's a commitment. And it is hard to be different than everyone else in your profession, to be going against what everyone else is saying.
Totally.
I know that myself, in so many different directions. And you know what? The truth is that we're doing something different than what a lot of other practitioners are doing. And what we offer and what we're doing is needed. I know it's needed. I look out right now, I'm looking out into my live stream here, and I'm seeing everybody's names, and I know who they are, because I spend time with them every couple days, and I'm with them on Facebook every day, and I know how much they care about learning all of these very basic but important topics, and just the questions about breastfeeding, and there's no greater joy in my life than to be able to, even if it's in some small way, on the internet, to be able to convey whatever knowledge I may have accumulated over the years and through my own experience to give to them. So I understand that, and then everyone else really doesn't matter to me. They matter to me. Right. So I just love this. I just completely love this. Oh, we're going to talk about, I'm going to keep going, because there's topics, and I want you guys to really just get excited. Who's excited about this? You guys loving this? Are you loving this? Because we haven't even gotten into the meat of it. Okay. We are what we're doing tonight is scratching the surface. We're introducing ourselves. We're introducing Dr. Susan. We're introducing the book and the whole concept here. But what we're going to do is we're going to break this down, and we're going to start really taking you through some of the, ins and outs, and get more detailed on the particular topics, where you'll be able to post your questions, and we'll be able to give you answers while we're here. Topics like allergies and eczema and asthma and ear infections and fevers, like we talked about before. And then there was one, vitamin D and getting more sun. These are all ideas, concepts that come up all the time. And then one of my favorites that we did many years ago was the whole conversation about cow's milk, and how, it's really not for human consumption. And I don't know how many times that video has been watched already, but we are going to do it again, because that is a concept that comes up all the time. Like, when should I give my baby milk? Pediatricians telling me I need to start dairy or milk. And It's like never. How about
Right.
never? How about never
That's
for
right.
an answer? So it's a whole conversation in itself.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do we have any more questions here that we can answer for anybody while we're here still together? Now, remember to win the e-gift card from Lalaboo, which I'm so happy you guys got to join us tonight and be a part of this wonderful conversation. And then to provide such an amazing prize for everybody to win the Lalaboo gift card, you need to just like or love this post. You need to comment here, which you're already doing, okay? And it would be great if you could share this after we're done. Tag your friends, tell them about it, especially your expecting moms, friends that will be able to come into our next conversation. We're talking about birth and all those other things. But do all that here, and then we're going to pick a winner for that, of course. And we're also going to pick two other winners. One person's going to win a copy of Dr. Susan's book, okay? And one person's going to win access to my online classes. All right, so we're going to have three winners tonight. One will win the Lalaboo, one will win the book, and one will win the classes. So we've got lots of prizes for everybody. Can we have some hearts flying across the screen? Because I'm feeling a lot of love for all of you, and I'd like to see your love flying back right now. Dr. Susan is in France, okay, in the middle of the night, having this chat with us. And so I'm sending you so many hearts and so much love. For doing this, and for joining me again. And I couldn't be happier than for us to be back together having the conversations that I love to talk about the most. There's nothing better for me, for sure. I really appreciate it. And so does everybody. I can see the hearts all coming across. Yeah, they'd all like to win. I've got, they're from the Philippines. We've got people from all over the world right now logged in. And listening to this conversation, and they're thanking us. Wonderful, wonderful. So, any questions that came in? Let's see here. Oh, and they're speaking to you in French, and I don't know what they're saying. Corey's. They're speaking to you in French. What? Oh, good night. Thank you. They're saying in French. Okay, yeah. They're asking about. Okay, so. Let's answer one question before we say goodnight, okay? The question came in from Nicole, and she's asking about supplements. And
No.
She's talking about vitamin supplements and
I thought you were talking about supplementing breast milk.
Supplements and probiotics for her baby. And this is, and I could tell you right now, one of the things that constantly comes up is, babies being prescribed vitamin supplements in addition to being breastfed. And, this whole idea that there's something deficient about their milk.
Exactly.
I want to get your take on it because I already know my take on it, but go ahead.
Well, let me just do one supplement, vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's true that children are deficient in vitamin D, and that's because they don't go out in the sun. And
Right.
If they go out in the sun, they have sunscreen. And it's not a natural lifestyle for children to be indoors. And parents keep their children indoors because they're afraid of the sun. They're afraid of strangers. They're afraid of traffic. They drive to the mall. The children are not outside. They're not climbing trees. They're not catching fish. They're not jumping and playing and rolling around in the grass. So children do become vitamin D deficient because the way that we get vitamin D is through sunlight. So the medical profession has created a mass vitamin D deficiency in the population of our children in the United States.
And it's not just children; it's adults too.
I know.
Most adults.
Pediatrician, I'm like, adults are on their own.
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, that's why I said at the beginning, one of the main things of the four things I said is for children to be outdoors in the natural sunlight. That's the way that children are healthy. And the vitamin D has natural vitamin D has so much value in what it does in the human body, not just, having to do with calcium metabolism, but You can't interfere with Mother Nature. You can't take children out of the outdoors and expect them to be healthy. But unfortunately, what the medical profession does is create a problem and then solve the problem that was created by the medical profession in the first place. And unfortunately, again, because parents are not aware, parents are grateful to the doctor for pointing out that the child is vitamin D deficient.
Right.
So everybody's happy, but
Yeah.
it's not right. It's not right for the children to have that kind of attitude to take them away. And I appreciate that you held up the book, the subtitle of the book, because it says what your pediatrician doesn't know can hurt your child. But the subtitle is what exactly?
It says a more natural approach to parenting.
Yeah, natural. It was the publisher who came up with that title because he wanted something provocative, because he said, there's a lot of parenting books, and that we have to have a parent say, oh, this looks interesting just by the title, and then pick it up. And so I went along with it. Frankly, I wanted the title of the book to be
Uh-oh.
I wish I had a pediatrician like you. And that is because I've heard that my whole career. Women call me, oh, you're so great. I wish I had a pediatrician like you. Do you know anyone in, Oklahoma like you? No, I'm sorry. I don't know anybody like me. So I don't know. It was a little bit tongue in cheek, but I really thought about having that for the title. The publisher said, no, it's too self-serving. But I'm just explaining. I mean, the title, it has to draw people in. But on the other hand, it's true that there are, unfortunately, things that pediatricians don't know. Right. And by not having that knowledge, it's not good for the children.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I'll speak about for a moment, when it comes to vitamin D, there's everything that Dr. Susan just said is absolutely true. And yes, there is an issue that was created because not only are children not going out in sunlight, but mothers are not going out either, or they're wearing sunscreens all the time. And so when you're deficient in vitamin D, then your baby will also be deficient in vitamin D because your breast milk will be deficient in vitamin D. And you can supplement that. You will have to supplement that if you're not getting it through natural light, because there is no way to really get that through your diet. You cannot increase your vitamin D to adequate levels that will give your baby what your baby needs and also what you need. And vitamin D is not just, and we'll get into detail, but it's not just about bone development. Vitamin D has impacts on every aspect of our health, on every part of our body. It's actually not even a vitamin. It's more of a hormone.
It's a hormone.
It's a hormone that's produced from sunlight. And it's actually very preventative against cancer later on in life and all kinds of things. And so it's one of those things. I personally used to screen my patients for their vitamin D levels during pregnancy, because it's actually linked to decreased vitamin D, and low vitamin D levels is even linked to preeclampsia and preterm delivery. And so, keeping our vitamin D levels adequate during pregnancy is the very beginning of making sure that our babies are going to start off as healthy as possible, and then also continuing that into the breastfeeding process as well. So, vitamin D helps with depression. It helps with everything. And when your vitamin D is adequate, and depending on your health, you actually want it even higher. For people with cancer, it's even recommended to even have higher levels of vitamin D. This whole concept of the RDA of 400 units per day, I mean, it's such small, it's nothing. It will never bring your levels to the right number. You need thousands of units per day if you're not getting adequate sunlight to actually get your vitamin D level where it should be. And if you're pregnant right now, if you're breastfeeding, if you're a mom out there, I would recommend that on your next visit, or go to your doctor, have the blood test done. I'll post the link of what the test is. a specific test, a test to see what your level is, and make sure that your levels are somewhere up around 50. That's where you want them to really be as healthy as possible. So most people are severely deficient, and the darker your skin is, the lower your vitamin D level, or the more supplementation or the more sunlight you're going to need to keep those levels where they should be. So I don't think it's paid attention enough to.
Yeah, and in that chapter on sunlight is how bad sunscreens are. So that's a whole other issue.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. People think, using like higher SPFs and things like, it's actually the worst thing you can do. And we'll definitely get to the, oh my God, I'm so excited. We may have to skip around a little bit.
Maybe we'll try to be disciplined. Stick to the chapter.
What we'll do is we'll take the chapters, and if we have to combine something, I mean, they're going to be like, just get the book. If you read the book first, then you'll at least get this information right away, and then you'll have. See, the whole point of this book club that we're doing, this whole point of the series that we're putting together right now is meant for you to read about it, to educate yourself, to get the information, and then come back to us when you see us posting about the next episode. When you see us posting about the next topic, you're going to have questions that come up about that. You're going to read it. It's a chapter in a book. And then, of course, you're going to have additional questions that you want to ask. Here's your opportunity to ask Dr. Susan, who wrote the book, okay? So you get the book, you read it, I post it, you'll post your questions, and then we're going to have such amazing discussions and conversations as we move forward. I'm super excited about it. Are you guys excited? Let's see some hearts. Let's see who's excited. Tell me right now. Let's everybody do a comment with hashtag book club and some hearts going across the screen, and we're going to let Dr. Susan go to sleep. Yes, hashtag book club. And again, we're going to make sure you're commenting here, you're loving the post, and we'll be picking 3 winners. And then Joe posted here where you can get a copy for yourself so you can follow along with us and ask your questions. You've got an amazing resource. I just want you to know, I know you guys come here to listen to me. Now we're bringing another amazing expert into the mix with her a whole other area of expertise that I don't have. So that's the whole point of this. My old show, for all of you guys who don't know, the show used to be called My Baby Experts, and we're going back to that again. And the whole reason that I named my company and I named my show My Baby Experts, it's plural. It's not My Baby Expert, me, okay? It means that there are many experts that I will help to bring to you, that we will meet together, and where it's not me, it'll be somebody wonderful and with great knowledge to bring to you. And in addition to the experts that we bring, it really refers to you too, okay? You're not excluded from that conversation. Totally. Of you are your baby's expert. And so all together, we are the experts, right? So it's not just us we're giving you information. As far as who's the best baby's expert for your baby, it's you. It's you. And that's, I think, everything that Dr. Susan was saying tonight. And that's what we always say. So thank you so much. It's so great to see your face. It's so great to see you tonight, to have this conversation. In the past, we had to do this with on the phone with a little picture. And now I get to actually have a conversation with you, and everybody else gets to see you too. So
that's great.
It's just so wonderful. Pleasant. Yay for technology that we can do this.
Let me just say that on Amazon, the book is frequently sold out, and when it is, and it probably is by now tonight, even though Amazon says that it's not available and it will be available, and then they give some figure like 10 days or 2 weeks, it always very quick. There's a very quick turnaround. Okay. So even if it's not available at the time, obviously you can still order it. It comes in much faster than they think. Than they indicate, but I guess they just don't want to have a problem. But it's pretty quick, because it often is sold out. And then I think, oh my goodness, it's sold out. What if someone else wants it? But then 2 days later, they have the book in stock again.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, go ahead. And we won't be doing this for a couple weeks, so you'll have plenty of
Oh,
time.
okay, good. Yeah.
Yes, so it'll be fine. And then anybody who wants to go ahead and get a Lullaby shirt, remember the code is Shari. What a great code. I love that code. For 15% off for Lullaby. Thank you, Lullaby. Thank you, Dr. Susan, so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, Joe, in there. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, everyone. I love you so much. Thank you for joining us, as always, and we will see you again. Hey, you guys, don't forget, Friday night, I am going to be doing an amazing live stream on perineal massage, delivering with an intact perineum, avoiding episiotomies, and I'm not doing it here. So you're gonna come looking for me here, and I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna be over on Belly and Breast Fairhaven's page, okay? So look for the post and come over there. I think I'll go live for a few minutes with you guys right before so that I can remind you. Maybe we'll set up a reminder here. We'll go live, and then you guys can all follow me over for the conversation. It's going to be an awesome, awesome night with Dr. Joanna Ellington, who's the developer of the lubricant that we use, and she did all the research, and it's going to be really good. And if you have anybody who's expecting or ready to deliver, yeah. And even if you've had your baby, you want to know this for the next time. Great information and advice and experience. So good night, everybody. We're going to say good night now, and we love you, and I will see you again soon. Have a good night. Bye.
Good night. See you next time.
Bye.